Hi, welcome back to the Brown Couch Talks, you guys. So it's your girl Maria. Once again, we are here for another episode of our lovely Brown Couch Talks. And today we also have our lovely new guest for this podcast. Guys, meet Aloe. So
Hi.
Aloe is just a short backstory. Aloe is of course, Aloe is Filipina. She doesn't look like it, but she is. She is, you guys. She's Filipina and she grew up here. Alo and I actually met through our friend Jeffer, our common friend. I believe we went to the beach.
Yeah, we watched the
That's why we watched the
fireworks.
fireworks when we were supporting the
Yes, all
Philippine
together.
fireworks, and we won. We
Yeah,
won,
as we should.
right? We won, and it was so fun, right? And I think I remember us drinking Red Horse beer at the time. It's very Filipino, you guys. But yeah, so Alo, why don't you introduce a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Aloe, but my real name is Alalu, which is based off Hallelujah. I'm 19 years old, and I grew up in Vancouver, BC. And um, I dance and play volleyball and ulti sometimes. I'm a very athletic girl, so yeah.
Well, thank you, Alo. So, who's the um, first generation immigrants here?
Um, well, my dad came here when he was 3, so
Oh,
basically
okay.
he was here when he was super young.
Okay.
My mom came here when she was early 20s for school. She
Oh,
did
okay.
nursing here, and that's where my parents actually met. Um, so I would say first generation because both me and my sister were born here.
Okay, okay. And you guys, how many? I'm sorry, how many are you in the family?
It's just me and my older sister.
So you're the
Yeah,
youngest, and you're 19 years old. How old is your sister?
she's 23 years
She's
old.
23. Oh, you guys are pretty young. You guys are pretty young, eh?
Yeah.
Right? So Alo, you grew up here. You were born here, and I'm pretty curious as to what was it like growing up here in Canada, being a Filipino.
Growing up in Canada isn't like the life that all Filipinos dream of all the time. I know there's like a certain childhood of just as it goes, just child games like out on the roads. There's like those
Yeah.
friendships built. Um, yes, we can have that here in Canada, but honestly, the roads aren't that safe. Like there's always like the neighborhoods, but it's also very big neighborhoods where there's not a lot of like not the kids are all in the same place all at
Oh
once.
yeah.
There's always like certain demographics too. Growing up, like I was like one of 3 Filipinos in my whole school,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, my other one being my older sister.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like that was just elementary school. Like as we grew up, like high school, there was a lot more, of course, but
Oh,
like there's always like certain like advantages and disadvantages. And growing up here, it's fun and it's like great like experience, but having I feel like having like building those friendships at a younger age, like that
yeah.
the Philippines can do, or it's just something that we can't do here.
Well, yeah. Well, I remember when we were younger, you were saying how you would go out and play out. Yeah, I remember because when we were younger, rain or shine, daytime or nighttime, especially if it's the weekend. So, me and my cousins would get together and we'd play hide and seek, or we call it tagu-taguan back then. We'd play hide and seek, and then we'll just run all over. And then once the game's finished, we all smell like soil and sweat and everything. So yeah, I think I see where you're going with that. It's really different growing up as a Filipino back home versus growing up as a Filipino back here.
Yeah.
And when you hear those kinds of stories, sometimes you kind of think, does it make you think that I wish I grew up in the Philippines.
Oh yeah, all the
It does,
time. Yeah, I see
really.
like videos of it all the time, or even when my cousins went back when they were younger, like
Yeah,
they would already be playing out in the streets with whoever else.
yeah.
So it's just like I always saw that, but I never had that opportunity.
Yeah, it was fun because you know what? People would draw, would use chalks and draw a whole bunch of lines and just play patintero. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
We just play that, or we even play secure or security post. Yeah, we just do those things sometimes late night, and then by the time it's 6 o'clock, our parents would call us or shout our
Oh
names
yeah.
and tell us, "Oh, it's time for dinner," and then it's time to sleep, yada yada. But it was really fun, and
Yeah.
I would personally get why you would wish that you were born there
Oh
because
yeah.
I experienced that generation.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I cannot say it's the same for right now for generations right now because you know technology has taken over.
Oh yeah.
So
True.
basically all the kids are into they're into gadgets, tablets, throwing tantrums when they
Oh
can
yeah.
when they cannot when their phones are low battery and all sorts of stuff. But that being said, have you like you said that there's like only a few of you Filipinos. Have you felt connected to them or even connected to the culture, Filipino culture while growing up?
Um, with the people that I was surrounded with, other than my family, like my cousins and everything that are also Filipino, um, we there was also just this one little. It was basically like a cul-de-sac. It had four houses.
Oh,
It was my house, and then my piano's teacher, like my piano teacher in the back, and then the other Filipinos were in the other house. So
yeah.
we ended up like playing, and that was like playing out in the little cul-de-sac we had,
Yeah.
and then the nanai or the lola would always like invite me over for dinner
Yeah.
because we're all in that cul-de-sac, so all of our families know each other,
Yeah.
and it was very homey. Like they ended up going to the same school as me, but they're all younger, so it was more like they felt safe with me. Like I was like their ates to them. They called me
Oh,
ate. It was very
that's so
nice. Yeah.
nice. That feels nice.
That was like something that really like kept me in my culture for like being Filipino, as well as like my cousins, of course. It's also mostly my nanay that kept the Filipino roots. I feel like since my dad grew up here basically, and my
Yeah.
mom came and she was westernized like early
Oh,
20s,
yeah.
like they were still connected, but they weren't showing me. My nanay would always bring me around all the events and everything,
Yeah.
keep me with the Filipino roots and everything. But my mom and my dad, like, they never spoke any Tagalog, any
Oh,
Bisaya, like, nothing to me. So I barely understand or speak anything, which is something that I'm really upset about. Like, growing up now, like, I wish
uh,
that I had, like,
uh,
the,
you should understood the
yeah,
language.
at least
Right.
understood,
Oh,
yeah.
where's your family from in the Philippines?
My mom's from Boracay,
Oh, that's
and
nice.
then my dad, like, he was like in a whole bunch of places, but I think his family right now is like has been in Manila for like the past couple of years. Yeah,
Oh,
like they
okay.
didn't move after.
So you never wanted to go back home in Boracay? Have you?
I have,
You have?
and I
Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy
Right? It's a
it.
really
It's so
pretty place.
beautiful.
It's a
It's
really
so
nice place.
beautiful.
I
Yeah,
remember at the time, like they're trying to clean it up because it's kind of becoming too touristy and too messy. A lot of
yeah,
litter going around, and they clean it up, and it's become like one huge paradise
but yeah.
once more, right? But yeah, you call your mom nanay.
No, I call my mom's mom Nanay.
Oh, you call your
Yeah,
grandma, your
yeah,
grandma. So the whole family is here then, like your grandparents.
yeah.
Oh, that's
Like my
nice.
dad's dad is back in the Philippines though.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but my dad's all his siblings are here.
Oh, I see. I see. Growing up, it must have felt difficult somehow, because you're in a Western country, but you're basically from Southeast Asia, and then your family, as you said, your nana is trying to acclimate you to the Filipino life somehow, but at the same time, you have to live the Western life.
Yeah.
Is there a time that you've been like questioning your identity?
I don't really think I like. question my identity. I also believe that my parents did put me in enough physical activity. They put me in singing and dancing and piano lessons. I was always busy.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was constantly not put on the mind of who I am really. I was
Yeah.
always trying to do something else.
Yeah.
I'm like pretty thankful for that.
Have you, but did you feel like there's a struggle knowing, like, say, you're the Filipino in the circle?
Yes.
Really? How so?
I definitely believe like Filipinos have not just respect for others, but they have like respect for themselves. I'm not saying no one else does, but they have a greater understanding. They always have more care or they
Mm-hmm.
have more loving instincts. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I felt like I love harder. It's just all to my friends or to my family. Like I love giving hugs. I'm
Yeah.
always a very lovey person.
Yeah.
So I know like the people that I grew up like with, they weren't like as an affectionate as me. Like oh, of course, like not everyone's gonna be affectionate, but
Yeah.
there's more of the greater respect and love language and something like being Filipino is more wholesome
Yeah.
for like
Oh yeah.
overall.
What would you how did you define yourself as a Filipino? Is there like any specific way that you've defined yourself? Oh, I'm Filipino. Like this way, or
Um,
certain actions, certain things.
I definitely think my care for people is like very like
Really?
Filipino wise.
Yeah.
Like I really love caring for like my loved ones, like family members, animals. Like I'm a very loving and caring person. That like for me, like I haven't met anyone else other than Filipinos who are like that. Yeah,
Really?
like they're always like
Really?
so welcoming, so homey, and very caring people. Like no matter who you are, they will always take you in and treat you like family.
That's true.
So I haven't really experienced that with like a lot of others. So yeah,
Really,
something like that.
that's true. That's true. But at some point, were you stereotyped like, oh, she's Filipino because were you
I
ever stereotyped that way? Like, oh, she's Filipino because she's what? She eats rice, or is she's Filipino because she's
I
whatever.
mean, I think because I laugh loudly, or like, you're so Filipino because you laugh loud, or you speak
Really? Is
loud.
it just us Filipinos who laugh that loud?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that. Really?
Oh, or like yeah, because I'm a dancer, they're like, oh, like you can only dance because you're Filipino, or you're a singer because you can like because you're
Oh
Filipino.
yeah, right. The usual talent stereotype. Like, oh, you're Filipino. Can you sing? You're
Yeah,
Filipino. Can you dance?
yeah, always like
Is it
that.
only Filipinos who can sing and dance? Really?
I
Me?
mean, we're all just supposed to be good at it, so
No, because I think it boils down to the part where you did the voice lesson, you know. When I
yeah.
was younger, I did the same thing too. I would go to voice lesson. It was funny because when I was younger, my mom would say like, okay, let's drive out to the voice lesson. And here I was thinking that she meant voice lesson. And I'm like, I'm a girl. Why would you bring me to a voice lesson? And she did, and I didn't even know that she meant voice lesson. Voice lesson. That was,
Boys.
and it was so funny. But yeah, I did the same thing. I was doing voice lesson. I was very active when I was younger. Okay, those are actually good stereotypes. But were there any misconceptions that was brought up, or like, that was told about you, like, oh, you're Filipino, you must be, I don't know, a nurse. Sorry,
So bad.
it's not that it's a bad thing to be a nurse, but people immediately think that if you're Filipino, you work in healthcare. But I
True.
mean, exhibit A, I work in healthcare. Yeah.
Fuck me. I will be in a couple years.
Oh, you are. What are you planning
I want to
to?
become an RMT, be a massage therapist.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, please.
Yeah, girl, I got
Uh,
you.
I'd love to. I'd
Yeah.
love to. But what else are those misconceptions?
I didn't never really had bad misconceptions. I also believe that I grew up in a place where no one really knew much about
Oh,
Filipinos.
really?
Uh, there wasn't much of us, so they couldn't say
Really?
anything.
So it was just recently then that there's been a bunch of
Yeah.
Filipinos coming in then, right? Oh, really? Just in Vancouver? Because I heard in Winnipeg there's always been like Filipino roots. So since you're basically Phil Canadian, how do you balance being Phil Canadian? Is there like a balance that needs to be done or striked or whatever?
Um, for me, I don't really believe there's anything I can do. It's more of a thought for myself of always being true to myself.
Yeah,
Doesn't really matter what
yeah,
my community is like. If I don't think it's the right thing, always
yeah,
just like know to myself what's good or not. And like that also again like goes with like the community as of like I wouldn't like I ask for permission for a lot of things
yeah,
or again like with the respect levels like I have a boundary for everything
yeah,
and like I think that myself as like a Canadian, I've noticed again with like the respect levels, all of that
yeah.
is something like completely different. For me as a Filipino Canadian, I also believe they know their boundaries. I think
Oh,
they
yeah,
know um, what like is like the right or wrong because
yeah.
like they were just taught that way, or at least that's how I was like growing
How you
up.
are, yeah. That's very That's what you said in the beginning was very, how do you call that? It's like very mature and like very. It's like, how do you call that? The goal to self actualization, like how you said it.
Very mature,
Very mature, very demure,
very
very
cutesy.
cutesy, very mindful. As
Yeah,
a Filipino, are you mindful?
yeah, all the
Are
time,
you cutesy? But very
always,
demure too.
always.
Okay, what are the instances, and I know that there will be, that you felt
Or
more Filipino or more Canadian?
ooh, I feel like just going to all the events that my nanay brought me to.
What
Not
kind of events has she bring you to? There
ati-atihan.
are Atiatian here. That's
Yeah. I love
amazing.
ati-atihan.
Really? Where do you guys go for that?
Well, they used to have it at St. Patrick's.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Like
okay.
just like a little parade. Not even a parade, it's just like in the gym and
There
then
are they blowing torches too?
no, but
No,
they
they're
have the
not.
drums and
Oh,
stuff.
that would have been fun.
I think maybe one year outside. We had one outside. I
Yeah,
think they did that, but I was
because
so young.
you know what, ati-atihan is, well, I mean, it's a common thing in the Philippines, especially if it's fiesta.
Mhm.
But it's still fun when you witness it because I was living in the city when I was studying college
Mhm.
rather. And randomly, this ati-atihan would come around and they would just blow torches of fire,
Oh my
throw
god.
gas, drink gas. It was so fun. It
Yeah.
was so fun. And I, honestly, if I witnessed that here, I would be so into it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, how about the part where you feel like you're more Canadian?
Um,
Is there?
I think so. I just think like if I went back to the Philippines,
That's the
that's
only time you'd feel
like
like
it
so.
would be like, oh my gosh, I'm not from here.
Yeah.
But more Canadian, it's more like it's kind of my self again. It's not a different self. It's I grew up here. It's a regular everyday basis. So
Yeah.
I've never really thought about if I'm more Canadian now.
I think that that question is actually more applicable to those who came here more recently. Like
Yeah.
if you have your own mind and body and decision way of decision or deciding, that's when you actually think that if you are more Canadian or more because I definitely feel that way.
Mhm.
I definitely do because you know what, this podcast would be the example. I would go about my podcast speaking in English. And then all of my friends would suddenly message me randomly, like when I talk to them and I talk to them in Tagalog, they're like, "Oh, I can't believe you still speak Tagalog." They would say, "Oh, nakakapag Tagalog ka pa pala." They would say that, and I'm like, "Of course I do." But yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm not really too Canadian, but I feel like I'm becoming too westernized when I experience those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. You were born here. It's part of your identity to be both Filipino and Canadian. But you've got practices at home of what are the practices back home that makes you like, practice Filipino culture,
Church.
church, like in your everyday living. What else are you like?
Mm, no shoes in the house. I wear slippers in the house
Oh
still.
yeah,
Um, cooking rice every day.
yeah. Well, it's part of life.
Yeah.
Rice is a part of life. Rice is a part
Facts.
of life,
I
and
like that
that's I'm
saying.
excited to eat Jollibee because of rice. But go on.
Yes.
Yeah, do you guys do the usual, asking for respect when you're leaving? You're gonna ask for blessing by taking your parents' hand.
Definitely, if you ask someone else, it would be a yes. And I mean, I would always tell my mom if I was leaving. So my parents are divorced. So when I do stay with my mom, I'm like, hey, I'm leaving. I don't ask for respect, like, not out of disrespect, but it's more that she knows that I'm getting older now. She knows that I'm leaving the house in the morning for work. I come home late if I'm
Yeah.
working. So it's more that she respects me knowing that I have like other things outside,
Oh, okay,
and
yeah.
like, but we always tell each other that we're leaving. Same thing with my dad. He'll ask where I'm going. I'll tell him where I'm going. There's no lies or anything, but like if we leave, we leave. It's but if they ask, like
Yeah.
of course I'll tell them where I'm going.
Yeah, because in my experience, well, I just moved here 3 years ago, and we still kept the practice of doing that. Like we call it, I don't know, my parents call it kiss and bless. Like you're gonna kiss your mom. This was when we were younger. I would like kiss the cheek of my parents, and I would ask for their blessing. And now that we got older, we just ask for blessing every time. That's still a common thing for me and my family right now.
Oh yeah,
Actually, it's not never gone. It's always the same. If you leave without asking for blessing, that's when things get bad.
yeah.
That's when things get bad. Like they would say that you're disrespecting them
No,
or
I
that
get
you're mad at
you.
them. That's true though. Like you have to, since it's been a practice for us since I was born, you have to keep up with it, or else it's nothing. Not
Yes,
very demure.
not
Not very
very
mindful for
cutesy
the
at
family.
all.
Not at all. Not at all. Has there been any, or have you ever experienced any challenges to being Filipino outside or born outside the Philippines?
Understanding the language.
That's always the number
That's
one.
all.
Always the number
Like
one.
other, like I love all the food. I love the culture. Everything. I like. The only thing I
Yeah.
can't do is just understand or speak, and that's just the biggest challenge that I'll ever face as a
Yeah,
Filipino.
I'm just curious because you said you love the food, and so far I've heard a lot of Filipinos say this. They don't like the street food in the Philippines.
I mean, I get it because nothing can beat like a home cooked meal.
Like,
Really,
but you don't like street food in the
I
Philippines?
like street
You
food,
do? You like the
but
isaw?
yeah,
You like
I like
those?
eating shit out of a bag. Sorry, can I swear? I'm
Yes, it's fine. It's I can mark it as explicit content.
I'll keep it. I'll keep it low. I like it.
No, that's fine. We can do that. We can do that for sure. But yeah, just the language though, right?
Definitely,
Always the
yeah.
language.
It's like the biggest thing I can face. I mean, definitely liking the nuguan might be another challenge. I mean, I'll
Really?
eat it, but it's not my favorite.
It's yummy. You like the nuguan, right? I love the. Oh my goodness, I should bring you to my place, really, in
I mean, I
Burnaby.
like it without the liver chunks.
Oh yeah, you know what? You could cook the nuguan with just the
Pork.
pork itself.
I like
You
that.
don't have
I
to,
like
but
that.
I don't know, for some
But
reason,
going anywhere else.
yeah, for some reason my family always wants to put in the liver, heart.
Like I don't want that. I'm so sorry. I don't
Really?
like I love the pork. Like if it's just pork tanugaan, I'll eat it like no
Yeah.
problem. But
Have you
all
tried?
that,
Have you tried it with puto?
yes,
It's really
it's good.
good,
It's good.
right? It's really
It's pretty
great.
good.
Well, yeah, other than that, so how was your experience here? How would you say has it shaped you as like being both Filipino and Canadian?
I definitely think growing up here is an experience. You do get like a lot of opportunities here. Knowing that like my mom didn't have lots of opportunities when she grew up, and that's why she put me in everything. That's why she put me in dance and singing and swimming and everything under the sun. Because she said like I would have done that if I had the money or if like my mom
Yeah.
had the opportunity to. Um, so I was very thankful that I had the opportunity to grow and try new things,
Yeah,
especially here. Knowing like not all those opportunities are out in the Philippines or they
yeah,
weren't before.
that's true.
Um, yeah,
But yeah,
that's
yeah.
it. Like I'm pretty
That,
grateful, like growing up
you
here.
know what? When you say that, what comes to my mind is that because my family has been here, my mom's family has been here since the early 2000s, and there's always this thing that comes to mind that I wish I grew up here. And there you are, you would think otherwise, that you wish you experienced the Filipino way of growing up. And I was thinking I wished I experienced the Canadian way of growing up. But I guess it's also the idea that you wouldn't feel grateful for anything at all because you didn't experience it, but you just have to be grateful for what you have,
Yeah.
literally.
Oh yeah.
And just don't look outward, look inward with what you're experiencing. Okay, when did you last go home in the Philippines though?
Before COVID.
Oh, really? It's been a
Yeah, but I'm
while.
going back in January
Oh,
2025.
right, right.
Yeah.
How was your experience back then?
Um,
Weather-wise, I'm curious. Weather-wise, how was
flood
it?
season because it's our summer here, so I
Oh,
just got off school.
July.
Yeah. So I had to
Yeah.
go there for my off season.
Yes.
So it was your flood
Nasty,
season.
nasty way to go home. But then again,
Yeah.
you didn't experience the actual Philippine summer,
Yeah.
which is really worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And good luck when you go home. Oh no, actually you'll not experience the heat. It's basically Christmas season still when you go home.
Yes.
Oh,
It's September
yeah.
now.
So Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, guys.
No, not kidding. I was telling my boss earlier, like, we were talking about how it's already September, and he was like, "Oh yeah, the year is going by fast," and I was like, "Yeah, right. It's already Christmas," and he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, basically, it's Christmas in the Philippines already. It's bare months.
September
It's
1st.
September."
Yeah.
And Merry Christmas, people.
Merry
Merry
Christmas
Christmas.
to all.
Oh, anyway, what advice would you give to those like Filipino Canadians? Like I would know for sure that there might be some people who's going through you may not have been going through that kind of challenge of identity crisis living the life here as Filipino Canadian. But what advice could you give to those living the life here as Filipino Canadian?
Be grateful to anything that comes your way. Even if it isn't the same here from what you're used to. And try to always have an open mind because everyone thinks differently.
Yeah.
Everyone's like opinions are heard here. And it's something that everyone like if you move here later or if you moved here as a super young age, just always remember like who you are and like stay true to yourself because it's what you think. Because yes, everyone else's opinions are heard, but your opinions are also heard too. You know.
That's very nice. It's very mature, very demure, very mindful kind of way. Anyway, Aloe, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. It's so nice to actually invite or get a hold of those ideas from someone who's been born here, a Filipino was born here. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much for
so
having
much. Of
me.
course, of course. Well, anyway, it's been nice. It's been really nice to be back on our trusty brown couch in downtown. And it's been great. Thank you again,
Of
Ella. Is there anything
course.
that you want to tell the people out there?
Um,
Recommend or I don't know, shout out to anyone?
I
Anyone?
love you, Jeffer. I love you, Manang, my older sister.
Oh, that's so cute. You call your older sister Mana?
Yeah, I call her Manang.
Oh,
Manang Ao for the win.
yeah,
Do you
that's
have the TikTok dance account? Do you still active?
No. But you can follow my Instagram, ALLELUH, because you can't spell Alalu. Dot A.
she's so cute.
I saw your Instagram or your TikTok account. There was like one video that you posted that has so much views.
Really?
I went TikTok famous.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it has been really, really fun, you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in, listening in, joining in. You guys should watch out. Watch out for our upcoming episodes as we have plenty other guests coming up. And I know for sure you're gonna like it. So just tune in, listen in, join in, subscribe to our Spotify and YouTube channel. Once again, this is the Brown Couch Talks. Bye.
Bye.